And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Being felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a 10. Like Daddy, Stacy, all of the Barbies is pretty. Damn, all of the Barbies is bad.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be my labor and delivery video. I'm just gonna talk about my experience and what happened and throw in some clips of the day or days of being in labor and delivery. I didn't catch everything, but I did get some videos of what was going on. So I'll just throw that in here and there, okay? So let's get started. So I was induced, and I was induced on Friday, October 25th. And what happened was that week I was checking my blood pressure, which I started doing, I want to say, from 6 months. I really suggest that all women, if you're pregnant, take your blood pressure every night or morning. Choose a time. I did mine every night, but just to make sure that your blood pressure is doing okay and it's not getting too high, because that can mean that's one of the symptoms of preeclampsia, right? So I started taking my blood pressure around like 6 months every night, and I was keeping track of it so that when I went to the doctor, I could show them what my readings are. Because already during pregnancy, my blood pressure was higher than it normally would have been without being pregnant, which is usually happens sometimes, but it was like higher. Like my normal blood pressure was like on a regular like 100, 106, and it was already at like 125. They get nervous when it hits like close to 140. So a few days before October 25th, 2024, I took my blood pressure and it was high. It was like 140 something over like 80 something, which is not okay. So I got nervous and I'm like, uh-oh. So I said, you know what? Let me wait a few minutes, breathe, see if it goes down. And I think the fact that I had already like scared myself, it went up to like 160 something, and it was not dropping. I called my ER, the maternity ER that we have out here, and spoke to the doctor that was on staff there, and they asked me to come in, of course, which I knew they would. So woke my boyfriend up. I was like, let's go, because at this point I was already 37 and a half weeks. So if I did have to deliver her at that time, it would have been okay, because she's considered like full term, right? So we go to the ER, they, they're tracking my blood pressure, and then they're like, just relax, just breathe, and I'm doing that, and eventually it falls down to like 140 over, I don't remember the bottom number, but I remember being 140. And the doctor that came in was like, this is fine. This is better than my blood pressure on a normal day. So he's like, I'm gonna let you leave. He was like, just take it easy. You're almost done, basically. So we go home, and my actual doctor hears of it, and she wasn't too happy about that, because if it was up to her, she would have just kept me. Because they wanted me to come in the next day to do blood work to check for preeclampsia. So I ended up doing that on Friday, which was October 25th, 2024. And I went in, they wanted to check my blood pressure, and they wanted to do the labs, right? So they did all that. My blood pressure was still like 138 over something, and I was like, well, it's not terrible, but it's okay. So the nurse took it. I went to work. As soon as I get to work, which is about an hour later after that visit, I get a call. Hey, Tanisha, the doctor just thinks that we should just go ahead and induce you tonight. I was like, what? Like today? Can we wait a few days? Can we wait till Monday? Like, and she was like, no, sorry. Like, these things usually don't get better, they get worse, and we would hate for the weekend to come and something happens, God forbid, and we'd rather just get this over with. And so you can start back to feeling better. And I was like, wow, it was a lot to process because I was not expecting to have my daughter at 38 weeks. It's not. I guess anytime it would have happened, I would have been nervous, but to be induced, which is something that I didn't want to happen, I was like, all right, okay. So they like, you know, go home, get your stuff ready, get your stuff together, and we'll call you when it's time for you to come into the labor and delivery unit, because right now we're full. So I called my boyfriend. He had just got home and he had to get back in the car and come get me. He was like, oh wow, like today, like we're doing this today. I'm like, all right, we're doing this today. So then we go, he picks me up, we go get some snacks and stuff for the room, because they said that you can eat up until a certain point, but then after a certain point it just clears. So then we come home. I try to take a nap, but my anxiety is like, oh, like we can have a baby today or get started today, whatever. So I take a nap and I'm just waiting on the call. My bags was already, my hospital bag was already packed, so that was good, and so was his. And so yeah, so then we're just chilling, and then I get a call around like, I want to say 5:45, and I saw the number on my phone. I was like, okay. And they're like, hey, you know, your doctor wants you to be induced. Can you be to the hospital by 7 p.m.? And I'm like, yeah. So I get up, shower, get ready, put something comfortable on. We head out, I want to say around like 6:45. I'm always late. 6:45, we went to get some food because I'm like, okay, this is going to be my last meal. I want to get something that's going to be filling so that I can have a good meal to last me for as long as it can. So we go to this place called Pluckers. I had a chicken Philly sandwich and my boyfriend got wings. So then I insert the clip of when we go to Pluckers, and then when we are entering the hospital. Hey guys. So I'm gonna say this is the labor and delivery labor and delivery vlog. Don't mind my baby hairs. But we are on the way to the hospital to be induced. I didn't want to be induced, but this is what it's come to. And yeah. So yeah, we have to be there at 7 o'clock. So we got everything packed up, our bags, we got snacks and things, and yeah, we're excited and slightly nervous, right? And yeah,
waiting for a young lady to show up.
Yeah,
she's been moving on her own time
this whole pregnancy, to be honest.
For the longest, so hopefully she's ready.
So,
yeah.
So I'll get back to y'all once we get to the room and we're settled in and everything. Later. So after that, we enter the hospital, we check in. I gotta get one last bunk picture. Okay, guys. We're at the hospital. They bring us to our room. The room is huge. It's beautiful. Like, it's a really huge, spacious labor and delivery room. So this is what our room looks like. It's pretty spacious in here. Baby will go here. Oh my goodness.
You gotta keep it warm like it's fries at McDonald's.
This is her baby daddy who sleep. Dang, that's far. You far from me at that point. Okay. And I don't know what type of view we have, but we'll see that in the morning. I delivered at Texas Children Austin location. which is pretty brand new. I think they just opened in January of 2024. So everything looks great and beautiful. So I just checking out the room out. They give me a gown to put on, and yeah, this is the bathroom. It's like the regular floor and shower floor connects. It's pretty in here. I have a monitor on my belly. Tells me, you know, you can eat. We're gonna start you on your medication at 10 o'clock. Mind you, I got to the hospital around like 7:30. Supposed to be there at 7. And they're like, you can eat. We're gonna put a marker for 10:30. 10:30, you're gonna stop eating. You were gonna start you on this pill called Cytotec. So yeah, I just got started on Cytotec. It's in my cheek right now. No more eating for me until baby gets here. But yeah, I can't believe this day is actually like here. It's crazy. But yeah, time to just relax and let this pill do its thing and take a nap, and I'll follow up with y'all in a little while. So I put the pill here, and I'm letting it sit there, but then after 30 minutes it wasn't completely dissolved, so she was like, all right, now you can just swallow it. Did that, waited, I forgot how long, but then I had to take a second one. Took that, waited, I forgot how long. Cytotec, it was like half of a pill. It was very, very small, and it's supposed to start to like soften your cervix. So before they did that, they did check my cervix to see if it was like favorable and to see if it was starting to soften, and it was. So I was like, okay, my body was already preparing itself to give birth, basically. Oh, I did have a cervix check. They said my cervix was soft, and that was brutal. Like, I feel like she's put her whole hand in there. I was like, oh my gosh, that was bad. But I'm not dilated yet. I make 38 weeks in a few hours. And yeah. So the doctor comes in, and she also wants to do a sonogram to see where my placenta is, and like, I guess kind of look at my fibroids a little bit, because I do have 3 fibroids that are in my muscle, in the uterine muscle, not in my uterus. So she does a sonogram real quick. Oh, we did a sonogram too. She's still head down, and yeah, preparing herself. But I'll get back to y'all. She's looking, and she's like, okay, your placenta is a little bit low, but not low enough to where you can't push. She was like, this is it. And she's showing it to me on the screen, and I'm like, oh. I knew my placenta was in the front, but I didn't know it was like front down type of thing, right? So I'm like, okay, is it gonna be okay? Like, if we have to do, God forbid, a C-section, like, what's gonna happen if you have to cut? Like, you know, just all these questions that I'm asking. And it was like, well, since it'll be quick, it'll just be a cut real quick and it'll be pulled out, so it'll be fine. But if it was to really be like sitting in there, that would have been an issue type of thing. So I'm like, okay. So that was that. So we're in the room, just relaxing. So I know y'all can't see me, but they just gave me another round of Cytotec. I got a cervix check, and my cervix is a little bit more softer and like half a centimeter dilated. So we're on our second round of Cytotec. I'm gonna try to get some rest though. I'll check back in with y'all. If you've been induced, you know what Pitocin is. So they gave me the option to put a balloon in my cervix to open me up that way, and I was just like, because when they did the cervix check, that almost made me jump off the table. The cervix checks are so painful, like so painful. Like I just couldn't believe it. And I'm like, what's taking you so long? Why are you still digging to find my cervix? And they're like, well, your cervix is all the way back there and it's high. Not like when you like getting a pap smear or anything where you use a thing and it opens you up and it pushes all the tissues out the way. And I'm like, oh, so basically you have to go through the tissue, past all the tissues to find the cervix, and it's also high up. So it literally feels like their whole hand is digging in there, and it's so painful. So for them to have to do that again to put the balloon in, which would have took even longer than the cervix check, I was like, I'm good. Let's just do the Pitocin, because if you have to do the balloon with Pitocin anyway, we might as well just strictly do Pitocin. I don't want the balloon, even though the balloon is no medication. So we get started on the Pitocin, and they started off really low. I think I like a 1, and they up it every, I want to say it was every hour, or was it every 30 minutes? I think it was every hour. Yeah, I think it was every hour. So they're upping it every hour. And then I'm not feeling anything though. I'm not feeling any cramps yet. I'm not in pain. And then it gets to, they up it to a 4, or was it a 5? By the time it got to a 4 or a 5, they left that for 4 hours. So now we're going into the next day. It's overnight. It's the next morning. And they're starting to still up it, right? So after the 4 hours, and then I'm starting to feel a pain now.
How are you feeling, baby? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good for right now. I'm feeling cramps here and there.
Okay. What do you think about the information that they've been giving you so far? Do you trust it?
Yeah. Good information. Whatever they're telling me, I'm going to the doula and asking her about it and her opinion, what she thinks and stuff. So, yeah. So far, so good. I don't feel rushed, like super rushed or anything.
Great. How do you feel about energy? How does your body feel? And how is your body responding to this treatment that you're getting?
I think it's responding pretty well for the most part. We got this many centimeters dilated already, so.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What are some things that you would like to tell Lay now?
That I can't wait to meet her and smell her and hug her and cuddle with her. See her little face.
Okay, so tell us where the name comes from.
Like how I found it?
Yes.
So I was on TikTok.
That's great.
And these like baby names posts were coming up. So I'm like, okay. And it said unique baby girl names. So I'm letting it play, and it was 2 names in there. First one was Tyson, and the second one was Soleil. And I'm like, those are both pretty. And I thought of doing Tyson, Soleil, Douglas, your last name.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, yeah, that's gonna be the name.
Mm-hmm.
Then I kept thinking about it. I was like, I think Soleil is more pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked at the meaning, and it just so happened to mean sun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is cute. I don't know if Tyson had a definition. I don't remember. But then I also thought about switching it around and doing Soleil Tyson. But Soleil May sounds good. Yeah.
So tell the people where the May comes from.
May comes from my grandma's middle name that passed away. That was her middle name. So I wanted to incorporate something for her.
Amazing.
So out of all the vaccines I recommended, the only one that I did get was the Tdap. and I kind of got it really late, to be honest. So yeah, hopefully she gets the immunity. And I was told to take baby aspirin, and I was taking that.
For what?
To help prevent preeclampsia. And I'm 38 weeks, and the reason why they want me to have her now is because my blood pressure is getting high. It's been in the 130s. Once it gets really close to 140, they get nervous. Once you're at 160, that's not good. So, to prevent me from going that far, since I'm kind of considered full term already, they'd rather me just have her now. And that's okay. I'm okay with that.
So am I. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me your thoughts on the information they shared about the epidural and things like that.
For the epidural, she basically just went over like how they want me to be seated, how they're tested to make sure it's in the right place, and certain side effects that can happen. And then sometimes it can work on one side and not the other, and just things like that.
Okay.
Haven't gotten an epidural yet though. But yeah.
Have you had a chance to show the people the outfits that you had got for her?
I have not. I'll have to do a little
Haul.
yeah, later.
A little try on haul with something.
She's not gonna try it on, but I'll show her.
Yeah, that's great. That's good.
But mind you, before this, even on day one, the anesthesiologist comes in and she talks to me about how anesthesia goes, just in case I wanted to get it later on. But they talk to you in advance so that they don't have to do all this talking when you're in pain. They get it out the way. So she's just telling me how it would go and stuff like that, how soon in advance I should request her and stuff like that if I want it. So the next day comes and I'm starting to be in pain, and I every time I use the bathroom, I'm just like, it's to the point that like my stomach is getting nauseous now because I'm feeling it. And I think I wanna say I was at like maybe a 6-7 at this point. And when they had did my cervix check around this time, I was about 3 to 4 centimeters. I don't know, I made it that far without epidural. I don't even know if that is far, but I made it somewhere without epidural. And it was to the point where I'm just like, this is bad. It went from me just holding my boyfriend's hand through them, like, okay, letting it subside. But it was coming back it felt like every 2 minutes. We have a beautiful view from our window. The sun is setting. Like, I feel like I was barely having a break. So once it started to get stronger, I remember I got up to use the bathroom and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I feel like I was gonna throw up. And I'm like, I don't like this for me. But since my blood pressure was high, the pain was causing it to be higher. So during the whole time that I'm in the hospital bed, they're keeping the monitor blood pressure cuff on my arm, and it's going off every 10 minutes to check my blood pressure. And then I also have an IV here. And then over here, I had I felt like I was hooked up to so many machines, because every time I had to go to the bathroom, I had to bring the thing with me. It was a lot. Mind you, they're also monitoring the contractions, monitoring the baby's heart rate, and they also had this thing where they could monitor it without the belt thing, because since my placenta was in the front, it wasn't picking up her heart rate strong. So they had to keep adjusting that at first, and every time she would kick, it would move. It was crazy. So they used this other thing that they had. So once I come out from the bathroom, I'm laying there and I'm talking to my boyfriend, and I hear a pop. But at this time, the nurse is in the room, and I forgot what she was doing for me at that time, but I heard a pop, and I'm like, did y'all hear that? And they looking at me like, hear what? I'm like, oh, nothing. Maybe it's something internal. Like, I'm not even thinking that my water broke, right? So I'm laying there, a contraction comes, and like water starts to come out, and I'm like, but the nurse had left. This was like 2 minutes after she was already in there. So I hit the nurse button, and I'm like, she comes in, and I'm like, I think my water broke. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So I tell my boyfriend too. So she's like, okay, well, let's do a cervical check. I'm like, ugh.
So, okay, bring your
I
feet
feel
up.
a little lopsided on my back though.
You want to fix it real quick?
Yeah.
We got a lot of pillows back here. That's part of the problem. Okay, come back. Is that better?
That's great.
Okay, good. Better?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, this is my hand, okay? Two
Okay.
fingers, some cold gel.
Okay. So she goes in there, and it's just water, and she's like, oh yeah, mama, like your water indeed has broken. It's broken.
Okay, okay.
So you're 3, almost 4, about this. You're 3, okay, almost 4. But your water is indeed broken, okay? Okay?
Okay.
I'll get you cleaned up, okay?
Yeah.
You did great. You did great.
You're doing great, Mama,
Breathe.
okay?
Continue to breathe,
Yeah.
please.
Thank you.
I'll turn the light back off in a minute. We'll just get you all cleaned up, okay?
Okay. I was like, oh my gosh. So now, of course, I have to pee. So she helps me, and she was like, just be careful, because when you get up, you're gonna have a lot of water that's gonna come out. So be careful. So I get up, and as soon as I stand up, it's just pouring out. Just water, and it just felt so disgusting because you cannot control it. You can't hold it. Like, it's just coming out, and I'm just like, this feels so disgusting. Go to the bathrooms, more water, more water, more water. So I'm thinking the water's done. I'm coming back, and I'm like, okay, can I get on the pregnancy ball? They're like, yeah, sure. So they put like a Chuck's pad down on it, and as soon as I sit down and I start to like do these motions or whatever, more water. It's just squirting everywhere, like coming out everywhere. And I'm just like, so now the floor is full of amniotic fluid, and our boyfriend is like slipping and sliding, like it's terrible. So the nurse is cleaning up. I'm like, you know what, just forget it. I'm just gonna lay down because it's getting real messy in here, and it's about to be dangerous for somebody. So now they're like, okay, we think you should get your epidural now because your blood pressure, the pain that you're in is causing your blood pressure to go up more. So I'm like, all right, call her. They call the anesthesiologist. She comes in within like 10 minutes. So fast. I'm thinking like, from the videos that I watched, people gotta wait like 45 minutes, 40 minutes. No, she was already in the hallway, and she just so happened to not be busy. So she comes in with the stuff, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting you this fast. So I'm sitting there, and I have a video of it. Just not of the needle, but just of me, like how I was sitting, and I'll insert that here.
First thing I'm gonna do is clean you off, so it's gonna be cold, wet, and scratchy here.
Okay.
I'm just gonna untie this so that it doesn't fall in my sterile field, okay?
Okay.
She needs a mask on, right?
No, she
She good? Okay.
Yeah, perfect. And then just while that's drying, I'm gonna do the position, and it's hard when you're laboring, but you're gonna wanna put your arms face up, just like this.
I'm
and-
sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Arms face up, and then just kind of slouch. Yeah, just curl around, baby. And you know what? It would be different pillows. Sometimes it helps if you hold the pillow like this. It kind of helps you curl around. So give you a pillow.
insert part, how long does the whole thing take?
Probably about 5 to 10 minutes. And anything that's blue over here, please don't touch because that's sterile.
Okay, so like we said, thumbs up.
And then we can do our timeout whenever you guys are ready.
Yep, time out. Can you verify your name and date of birth?
Are 3:36.
Okay. And what's our heart rate right now? Well, nothing's happening.
88.
88, okay. I'm gonna put this plastic drape over your back.
Okay.
And I'll tell you each step of the way, no surprises.
Okay. Am I hunched enough? So yeah, so she does the epidural, and in the middle of her doing it, I have a contraction, and I'm just like, can we pause? Like, can we just take a second? She's like, well, you're already halfway done. Just try to hold it. And I'm like, and I have a nurse in front of me, and you'll see it in the video, like she's like just holding me, and I'm like, okay, thank goodness, because I do not want to be paralyzed. So at this point, it's like, I want to say maybe 6, 7 the next day PM. Yeah, it's like towards the night, I want to say. And then you know, throughout the day, I'm having liquids, clear liquids. You can have Jello, you can have apple juice, you can have chicken broth, you can have popsicles, and that's really it. So I ordered some clears because I can't eat like real food, but I got some chicken broth that actually doesn't taste bad, some red Jello, apple juice, and a lemon icy. So you're on clears. I kept requesting that chicken broth like back to back to back because I was hungry and it was good. I'm not even gonna lie, like the chicken broth wasn't bad. I'm just missing some vegetables and some chicken and noodles, but it was really good. So I kept having that. I kept drinking water. I had big tubs, like gallon things of water that they kept bringing me, ice chips, and it did what it was supposed to do. My nurse from the night before, she comes in and she's like, oh my God, I heard your water broke. Congratulations, like you're getting really close. And I'm just like, yeah, thank you, like, because I'm in so much pain, like, and I really appreciate her coming back in and, you know, being excited for me, but I just could not even like really like have the excitement that she had because I was just so much pain. So now things are starting to pick up, right, after my water breaks, and it's like really bad now. So got the epidural, right? I'm sorry if I'm all over the place because I'm just remembering pieces and I'm just throwing it in there, but I hope y'all can make sense of it. So epidural, that gets done, and immediately I start to feel my left leg going numb. And I'm like, okay, so it's working. So they give you like some type of thing called like a bolus. And I think that's like when they give you a big amount of the medication to see if it's in the right place or see how you react to it, and then they calm it down. So they do that, feel my left leg going numb, and I'm like, okay, it's starting to work that fast. So they turn me over, and now they gotta put the catheter in. They put the catheter in, no pain, obviously because I was already going numb. And they're like, you're not gonna be 100% numb in your legs, but you should still feel like some type of pressure. I'm not feeling anything in my uterus, and my legs, I can still feel them. Like I can still move them a little bit. So I'm like, okay, that's good because I don't want to not feel anything. Like that would freak me out. So this is just how we're doing for the next few hours, and then I want to say about 2 hours later, the epidural was starting to wear off, and I could feel my legs completely. My uterus wasn't in pain though, but like I didn't want to wait to the point where I'm back to feeling like I don't have no medication. So they give you this thing on the side of your bed where you can administer medication to yourself. So I'm doing it and I'm not feeling a difference. I'm doing it for like an hour. Whenever it gave me the green light to do it, I was doing it and nothing. So I called the nurses in, I asked them to get the anesthesiologist. I want to say it's about 2 a.m. I want to say it's about no, I might have the timer wrong. It's gonna connect though when I put in the little clips, because when I got the epidural, it was already dark. So maybe it wasn't 6, 7 o'clock. Maybe it was more like 8, 9, whatever. But I did take naps in between, and then at one point they slowed down the Pitocin, and no, they took me off the Pitocin and they gave me a blood pressure pill because they didn't like how my blood pressure was looking. So they gave me a blood pressure pill. The blood pressure pill made my heart start racing, which scared me, and they didn't tell me that was a side effect. So I'm like freaking out now, and I'm telling them like my heart's racing. They're like, oh, that's fine. I'm like, okay. So then that calms down, and they start me back on the Pitocin, and they have to start back from 1 and bring it back up to where we were. So there's that's happening, and that's happening while I have the epidural. I forgot to add one more thing. There was a point where when baby was coming down, she was coming down like this. So don't mind that piece of hair again. So what they had to do was insert like saline solution. What did they say it was? I don't know, but it was some type of liquid. They had to insert it back into me to, I guess because all my amniotic fluid was out, so she was coming down a certain way, but in order to like help her reposition herself to come out right, they had to insert water back into my uterus, which was crazy, but it worked, and she ended up coming down right. So now we get to about 3:30 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and the nurses come back in, and that's when I'm telling them, like, oh, I'm not feeling anything anymore, to call the anesthesiologist. She comes in and she gives me more anesthesia, more epidural, and she injects it into the little bag thing, and she's like, okay, this should be good. And then I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little bit more numb now. Cool. Nurses come back in. They're like, okay, we're gonna up the Pitocin again. And I'm like, before you do that, because while I was laying here for the past hour, I feel like something is coming down, like slowly, like every time a contraction was coming, it was like I felt the like if something was coming down, but more of like a pressure of like something, and then it was like disappearing. Something like, I want to say like this type of feeling, but in your uterus, right? And it wasn't painful, but I wasn't sure if that was like her coming down, like my baby coming down, or what. So I'm like, before you do that, can you just check me? I want to see how far along I am, because I am feeling a lot of pressure between my uterus and my back butt area. They're like, okay, yeah, let's check you. She goes in there. She didn't even have to go far this time. She literally was just like, up right here. She's like, oh. She's like, yeah, you're complete. I'm like, she's like, you're at 10 centimeters. I'm like, really? Well, it's a good thing I said something, because probably would have had that baby on my own. I'm like, dang. So that's what I was feeling. I'm feeling that, like, her like pushing down, coming at, like, oh yeah. So there's different stages, I guess, that represents how high in the uterus the baby is, if she's down, if she's, you know, how close she is to being out. So I'm like, okay, let me call my doula, because my doula, she wanted to know like when I was at certain centimeters so she could be on her way. She was already 20 minutes away, which is cool. So I had to hit her up like, I'm at 10 centimeters. She's like, okay, I'll be there in a few. In the middle of that, they're calling the doctor to come deliver me. So it's like 7, 8 nurses that come in the room now, and this one's doing that, this one's sending that over here, this is doing that, and it's just like getting prepped. And I'm just like I'm really about to have her, like I'm really about to have to push. So my baby daddy was sleeping. I told my nurse, I was like, you can wake him up, tell him that it's time. So they wake him up, they're like, it's time to have the baby, like, let's go. And he's like, really? All right. So he gets up, he comes to my side. So when the doctor comes in, no, my doula comes in, and the doctor comes in right after. Mind you, they kept calling the doctor. I don't know what he was doing. I have no idea what he was doing. It took him a long time to come though. It took him at least like 15-20 minutes to come to the room. And I'm holding it because I'm like, okay, she's not like, I'm not feeling like I need to push, but I do feel her coming down. So now he comes in and he also does a check and he's like, okay, good. So he's like, I need to just scoot down for me. One leg's gonna go up here, the other leg's gonna go up here. And it's like these like, not stirrup thingies, but like a leg rest type of thing. And he's just walking me through it. He's like, when you feel a contraction, you're gonna put your hands behind your thighs and you're gonna lean forward and you're gonna push. This big, huge light comes out the ceiling. This whole time it was in the ceiling, I didn't even know. I'm like, what the heck? It was so strange the way it came out of the ceiling. And now it's just like right here in front of like my whole area for everybody in the room to see. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So contraction comes and I'm like, all right, let's go. So we do it. And they're like, oh my God, you're doing great, you're doing great. Everybody's telling me like, you're doing good, oh my God. And the doctor's like, you must have done this before. He was like, you're doing really good. And I'm like, no, it's my first baby, but whatever. So I'm pushing, like, okay, great, take a break. Next contraction and do the same thing. Next contraction, I go to do it. And instead of like holding my breath, I breathe out. And I'm like, okay, let's do this over. Clearly I messed up. So did it again the third time. When that contraction came, he was like, okay, by the time your next contraction comes, your baby should be out. And I was like, really? Like, I'm thinking I'm gonna be pushing for like an hour or so, more than an hour. I thought this was gonna take really, really long. So he was right. Next contraction came, went to go push, she was out. They put her right here. I was like, didn't even have time to cry, anything. It was just so fast, so anything. I'm just holding her and she's just crying. I'm like, and she's so little, like she was so little. My baby came out 4 pounds, 12 ounces. She was little. So since she was so little, that's probably why like it wasn't really hurting like that. I don't know, but she was little. And they were like, I did tear a little bit. So he just stitched that up real quick. They just, you know, dabbing the blood, getting me together while I hold her. And then like after that, the nurses was coming in every few minutes or so, pressing on my stomach, and like stuff was just gushing out, coming out. And I guess they just checked to make sure that your uterus is going down and, you know, you're not like bleeding out or something like that. But when they took my placenta out, my placenta was small. She was small. So they wanted to send out my placenta to figure out if there was something wrong, or, you know, because of the high blood pressure, and it could like, basically with the placenta, they think that it could have been like some type of fetal growth restriction because of the high blood pressure, which means that it could also be a thing with preeclampsia, all of that, right? So I'm like, all right, fine, because I'd rather know if there's something wrong, right? So they send that out. But then nobody's actually telling me that I have preeclampsia. They just like, oh, your blood pressure's high. We're gonna get her out, whatever. And then my urine, I was seeing traces of protein in my urine for my 2 visits, my 36 week and my 37 week. And I bring that to their attention because none of the doctors mentioned it. They're like, oh, you know, that's pretty normal, but since you have it with the blood pressure, this is when we're kind of a little bit more concerned, right? So that's a part of also why they wanted to induce me, because of the protein in my urine. So in the hospital, they tested me twice. That Friday, they did a blood draw, did a whole CBC thing, tested my urine again, all of that. And my numbers is getting high. And they did it again the next day, and the numbers for my protein was higher. And like, it was like, at this point, yeah, you do have preeclampsia, right? So the next day after delivery, oh no, basically, it was like the same day, but since I had her at 4 a.m., later on that day, this doctor comes in. She's a black doctor. She was like, I don't know if they told you, but you do actually have preeclampsia at this point. It was preeclampsia. I don't know if they told you that. And then it can turn into like Preeclampsia and all this stuff. So now they're like worried about seizures, right? So they're like, we're gonna have to put you on magnesium for 12 hours today because we're worried. We want to prevent you from having a seizure. When your blood pressure is high like that, it can cause that. And to minimize that, we want to give you that. And it's something that they do. I think they do it. They could do it when you're gonna deliver, the day you're gonna deliver, and the day after. So it's usually 24 hours. But since I had her already, they just did it for 12 hours. That meant I couldn't get up for 12 hours. I was stuck to the bed for 12 hours. I had to put another catheter in because, you know, the urine had to go somewhere because I couldn't get up to go pee. I could still eat though. Like it's not like I couldn't eat, but I couldn't be alone with the baby either because the magnesium can make you woozy. It can make your focus off, make you high, give you hot flashes. It can give you, like, you can be, like, your vision can be blurry where you can't even see, but you just never know how your body's gonna react to it. So now I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, I thought maybe we would have been able to go home or something. I don't know. So now it's that. So they get me started right away because the sooner they do that, the sooner we get to be off of it, right? So that they started me on the magnesium and I started to feel really hot inside, like hot. But I didn't have anything else, thankfully. I didn't have, my eyes are fine, my focus was fine. It's just I had to keep turning side by side, changing my legs up because I was uncomfortable laying there for 12 hours. They put these things on my legs that kind of squeeze them, kind of like massage them, I guess, to keep the circulation good because they don't want you to get any blood clots. So I did that for 12 hours and that was a lot. That's when I really like broke down because I'm just like, it made me feel crazy because I felt so hot and like uncomfortable. And then I ended up taking a nap. And when I woke up, this whole side of my face had hives on it. And that usually happens to me when I'm sick and my body's fighting an infection and I get a fever. And I'm laying on a certain part for too long. I guess that part of my body overheats and then I get like hives. So that started to happen. And I got nervous. I'm like, I just feel like everything is going downhill. I'm not improving. I'm not getting better. And I literally was just like, I broke down. My boyfriend was so sweet, but he was there for me. And he was so kind. And the nurse came in. She's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm telling her like, I just don't feel like I'm improving. I feel like everything is just going downhill. Like, and I'm just like one thing after another: blood pressure, urine, preeclampsia, magnesium. Now I'm feeling. I'm like, I'm never gonna leave this hospital. Then I went to Dr. Anna. She's like, "You are doing good. Don't stress yourself out. This is just the last part that we need to do because we don't want something to happen to you. And we'd rather do this than you leave and then you have to come back." I'm like, "No, I get it. I just feel like I'm getting sick now. Like now I have hives in my face." And she's just like, "No, like you're doing it. Your blood pressure already looks better." And I'm like, "All right." So now I start to calm down. Finish the whole thing of magnesium. And now we're good. So then the next day comes and they're like, "Okay, you may be able to go home tonight." And I'm like, "Okay." So now I have my daughter on Sunday, 4 a.m., October 27th. It's Tuesday now. And they're like, "Okay, you may be able to go home today if your baby passes her car seat test." Never heard of that before. But since she was so little, they wanted to make sure that she would do well in a car seat. We put her in the car seat. No, they take her and put her in a car seat for 1 hour and 30 minutes. I'm like, this little girl's gonna be screaming at the top of her lungs. Can somebody please make sure they console her or like, cause she's so little, like, and I don't want her to like hurt herself screaming. She passed that test, thankfully, and we were able to go home that night, which was great. But yeah, that's my labor and delivery story. It was a lot, but we made it through, and I'm so happy that me and baby made it out fine. And yeah. Super happy and thankful for that. We had a pretty good labor and delivery besides the little things here and there, but I am happy that I was able to push and I didn't have to have a C-section. and baby was super healthy. Even though she was small, she didn't have to go to the NICU, she didn't have jaundice, her glucose levels were good, she was eating good, pooping good, and she's still doing good to this day. So as of today, she is, well, when I went to the doctor 2 weeks ago with her, she was 7 pounds, so she's growing, she's doing good, and she's super cute. Oh my gosh. And she's starting to look like me now. But yeah, thanks for watching my video. And one thing of advice I would say, if you're pregnant and you're watching this video, just make sure that you I would say just to track your blood pressure and drink your water. Yeah, because honestly, I had raspberry tea ready to start drinking, didn't even get a chance to drink that, but I was always very active. I was still going to work up until that day when they induced me, because I was supposed to be, my last day was supposed to be the week after that. So I just didn't return to work after that. Just active, walking around, drinking water, and yeah. Thanks for watching.